Hello Stampers, Deb Valder here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to show you how to do the reverse framelit technique. And I call it that because I use my framelits in a different way. Let me just show you a couple of the cards that I have done. This one was done with the framelit, the star framelit technique, and when you open it up, it has this cut out and the stars on the inside. This one right here is the same thing, only I just made it a little bit bigger. And when you open it up, you can see that the inside of this one has the star also. Now, this is the one I'm actually going to do, so I'll show you that one last. Here's another one that I had done. We did this in my club, and it was a club card. It was very well liked. I love using my little feathers, and that's what it looks like on the inside, and you just write your sentiment down here on the bottom. This is one of my favorite ones. It's done with the new framelits right here, and some of our new paper in the mini catalog. And I'm just going to slide off my little belly band here, and on the inside, we have our little ghost done with our handheld punch, and then a new framelit that's going to be coming out in January. And I love doing this. I cut it out with the new glimmer paper, and you can find all the directions for these on my blog. But the one I'm going to show you how to do today is the one with the wreath, and this is our wreath framelit right here. So let's get started. Let me show you what the inside of it looks like. And this framelit is still for sale. It's on our clearance rack. I'm going to show you how to an easy way to do these right here so that they glue on very easy. And then our little pearls that are colored. Alright, so let's begin. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and I just cut it at 5.5, and this is 8.5 inches wide. And then what I did was I scored it at 2 1/8 on this side, and then I turned it 180 degrees and I scored it 2 1/8 on this side. Now when you go to fold it together, make sure that when you go to fold it that you force it so that these are closed perfectly, because otherwise you're going to see what's on the inside, and you don't want to do that. You want this to be perfectly closed. Okay, so if at 2 1/8 if there's a little bit of space opening, just push this over a little bit more and then just fold it. This is just a bone folder, and you want to make sure that you do bone fold this so that your card stays down nice and flat. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take and put our inside in here. And for mine, I'm going to use some cherry cobbler cardstock, and I'm just going to take and lay that on the inside. I'm just going to center it and lay it on the inside. I wanted to do most everything before I got my big shot out, because once I get my big shot out, we're going to get started with the framelits. Alright, so this I'm just going to set aside for just a moment while I bring my big shot up. Here is my big shot. And the first thing that we're going to do on the card, let me just show you, is to cut out the outside frame right here. Okay, so we're going to cut the card base from the outside frame. I did forget to tell you to add your pieces to the outside first, and that's very, very important. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to take your pieces that go on the inside, and we're just going to lay them on the outside. Okay, so these are measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And I just used my my paper pack, my new paper pack from the mini catalog, and like I said, I cut them at 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And what you want to do is you want to take and just lay them down just like this. Okay, so now you have your designer series paper right here on the front, and now we can cut it out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big shot, and this is the most important part. Okay, so here's the bottom of my big shot, and what I need to do is I need to add my framelits to it. Now normally we would add our framelits like this so that the cutting edge is down so that it would cut out this image. But if I did that, what would happen is it would cut right through the bottom. So this is where I get the reverse framelit technique, and what I mean by that is we're going to take and we're going to just put them with the cutting edge up, so it's only going to cut the upper part, not the bottom part. Okay, so let's just center that in the middle. Then for our wreath, we need the inside piece also. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to line up excuse me, these pieces right here. And when I say this, it means these two little notches right here. I just lined those up. Okay, and it's centered from side to side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through my big shot. I'm going to close this. Now, if you were working with something that has a point, such as, let me just get one of these. I used my square framelit here, and I had to make sure that the point was here and here, so that it lined up perfectly on both sides of it, okay? Because you want, when you open it up, to have the point right here. You don't want the point going off. For this one, it's not that as important. You do want it centered, but it's not that important because it's just round, okay? So I'm going to take it, I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to put my top layer on here, my plastic plate, okay? And then I'm just going to run it through. And you will see that the cutting is going through the top part of it, just like this. You're going through several layers, so it is going to be a little bit more snug than usual. Now, when we take this off, it's going to come out just like this. Okay? And we have our opening. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and use the Big Shot to cut out, let me just show you. We're going to take the Big Shot to cut out the actual wreath. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to take, I took a piece of our Designer Series paper, again from the punch, or the paper pack, and I added it to a piece of our garden green cardstock, and that's to give it just a little bit more stability, because when you're opening and closing this, you want it to be pretty hefty. So I just added it to a piece of cardstock. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing, because we need to have this the same as this. You know how we cut up? We have to do the same thing for this. So that the patterns match, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, again with the little notch down here, and then I'm going to lay this piece right here, okay, and I'm going to lay my cardstock face up, because now what these two are going to do is they're going to be the exact same. And what I'm looking at is, you see this little piece right here? That's that little piece right there. And when we cut ours out, again, I have that little piece right there. So I know it's all going the right way. So we're going to take and we're going to put the cut side up. Okay, so our cutting side is up for all of these layers, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put my cardstock right side up, because this is what I want to see. I want to see this pattern right here. And it's going to be cutting from the bottom up, just like we did when we used the when we used it on the front of the card. Okay, so now I'm just going to take and run that through the Big Shot. And when it comes out, you're going to have this piece right here. And remember, it's a little bit hefty because we have our green cardstock on the back. So now if we did it right, you're going to take this and you're going to see that this fits right inside there. If we took and we put the framelits down, it was going to be a reverse image. It was going to be just like this. So when you go to try this, just keep that in mind, that you need to have it all line up the same way. It's the same way with the ghost. You want to make sure that you do it the opposite way than what you think you do, because the ghost can't be going the opposite way. If you do letters, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that they all go the same way. Okay, one more thing with the Big Shot, and that's to cut out our Mary. Let me just show you what I mean by that. And that's this piece right here. But before I do that, what I want to do, let me just put this aside for a second. What I want to do is I want to show you, everybody has a hard time gluing these on, these little framelits on once you get them done. But I use these, our new adhesive sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my adhesive sheet, I'm going to cut it to just about, because you don't want to waste this, so I'm going to cut it, the paper and the adhesive sheet, to the size that we have for our framelit right here. And on these, they have a good starting point to take those off. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to put the adhesive sheet on the opposite side. Now I cut my adhesive sheet just a little bit smaller so that I'm not going to get any of the goo onto the Big Shot when I'm running it through. So you'll see that you can see some of the framelits, the paper through that, and I want it to be that way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to run this through the Big Shot. Okay, so let me get my Big Shot back up here. Let me get my cutting plates back up here. And we're going to take and we're going to cut this like that. Okay, so we're just going to take and put this in here like that, put the top plastic plate on there like that, and then run it through. And now we should be done with our big shot. So I'm going to take that away. I'm going to grab my Mary right here. And while we're doing that, I also need to use my little pokey thing. So I'm just going to grab my little pokey thing. See how my Mary comes out so nicely? And now what I need to do is just to poke out all these little pieces right here. So I'm just going to grab my little poker, and I always poke out the little pieces first. Okay, and there's some very tiny ones in here. There is with the other ones too, but this one has a lot of them. And now these little holes right here are so that you can start pulling this out, just like this. Okay, and it just gives you kind of a start. These are very fragile, so you want to go slow. Okay. And once you have it out, it's ready to put onto, oops, I forgot to poke that one out. Oh, came out all by itself. Okay, so now I have my Mary, and what I need to do now is to just take off this little piece right here, and when I do that, it leaves those little glue dots on the bottom. Okay, so now it's very sticky, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to my card base, which is right here. So let's take and open this up. I'm going to add it to my card base down here at the bottom. So, because it is very sticky, the first time you put it down is going to be your last time. It does stick to your hands, especially if you have other kinds of glue on there. Okay, and we have our Mary. The nice thing about using these adhesive sheets is that when you go to put it on, after you're done, you don't have any of the green glue, the two-way glue, any of that, none of the shiny stuff shines through, okay? So now I've gotten rid of that. So now let's get ready and put the rest of our card together. So what I did with this one, remember there is a right side and a wrong side. We have to line this up perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dimensionals, and I'm just going to put a bunch of dimensionals on the back, and we'll pop this right on there. So we'll take off these. This is just so much fun, and like I said, you can do it with any framelit: circles, ovals, squares, stars, snowflakes, whatever you have. You just line them up and just put them on here. This is, see how I'm lining this up and how it goes just perfectly onto the inside. And when you before you go to push it down permanently, you want to just make sure that you lift it up so that you know that it's all perfectly lined up. And then when I go to close it, I just kind of flop it up here, and that actually helps it to stay closed. Okay, so now we've got our wreath on here. Let me put the original one down here. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make our fork bow. All right, I'm just closing this one up. Okay, like I said, you just kind of plop it like that. Okay, so now let's make a fork bow. I used my pick, and when I make my fork bows, I do have another video on this one. It's called the double fork bow. And what I do is I take my pick and I like to put washi tape on here when I'm teaching so that they know to always go to the left side of this. Let me show you what I mean. For a double fork bow, we're going to leave this edge right here. I'm going to go kind of fast so that we can get through this video, but there is another video on a double fork bow that you can watch. Let me just show you real quick. This one is a little bit shorter because this little guy's doing all the work. So we're going to go down to the left side of that and up the left side of it, and we're going to make this crazy 8 looking thing. See how that looks like an 8 now? And now we're just going to finish it off just like a regular fork bow, again going to the left side of that washi tape. Then you want to go up here, push the two of them, or pull and push and pull and push as tight as you can, and then you're just going to take and tie this once, pull your string side to side, check it before you take it off, looks perfect to me, and then we are just going to take and fluff our bow, and it's ready to be put on. Let me grab my good craft scissors from Stampin' Up. Let's just add that with our mini glue dot, and I like to put that up at the top here, just like that. Okay, well look at that, we're almost done. Okay, so another thing that I did run through the Framelit, or the Big Shot before I got here was my Peace and Joy. So my Peace and Joy I've already done. I've sponged the outside of it. I stamped it with our new stamp set called, that's called good greetings, and that is a hostess set for anybody that puts in an order of $300 or more. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to take and put a little dimensional on the side of it right over here. Make sure you only put it on one side so that you can actually open up your card, and that also helps your card to stay closed. This is now called a gatefold card because it has that gate in the middle right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my my little berries, and I did that by taking my my Blendabilities. It's the darkest cherry cobbler one, and I just colored all of my little pearls, and now I'm just going to pick them up and add them just randomly to my wreath. And when I'm done with this, our card is actually done. You can embellish any way that you want. I'm going to show you another wreath that I'm in the process of making, and it's just absolutely adorable. I've got one more left. Okay, it's absolutely adorable, but I haven't finished it yet. And that's done with, let me just show you. I used my Gold Glitz Dazzling Details, and I colored in my pearls with that, and I made my wreath look like this, and this will be on another one of these cards right here to make it look really cute. And then I have some gold ribbon that I'm going to put on it. So that'll be on my blog along with the others, so hop on over to there and check out all the rest of the details for the other cards that I did. And I hope you enjoyed this post. Take care, have a great day, and come back soon.